All right, welcome back to the Will and Russ Sports Podcast. This is episode 23, and I'm Russ, aka the Prophet.
And I'm Will, aka Will Stajamas. You all know who I am. Back at it again.
Yes, sir. Back at it again. It's good to be back. But first and foremost, you know, since the last time, we've talked actually off of the podcast. We've talked about everything with the Kobe Bryant
Yeah,
situation, with his helicopter crashing, and the 9 lives that were
yeah,
lost. Kobe, his daughter, two other young
hmm
teenagers that played with his daughter,
yeah,
Gianna, on a basketball team, and as well as the one of the daughters, Alyssa
yeah,
Altabelli, and her parents, John and Carrie Altabelli, they passed as well on there. There was also Sarah Chester and her daughter, and there was another coach on there,
hmm
a lady. She was a coach as well, and she was on there with them as well, plus the pilot. So it was 9 total that
yeah,
lost their lives tragically.
yeah,
It's been a very shaky. The world has been very shaky. I'll say since that happened, it shook everybody up. Really had me in shock when I heard about it. It was unbelievable because you hear a lot of you know false claims a lot of times where somebody has passed and hoax and things like that. And I was really hoping that it was a hoax until I went and saw that it was everywhere, and I knew that it had to been true. And I know we talked, but it's tough. I mean, first and foremost, those families,
yeah. No doubt.
to lose their loved ones, man, it's tough.
Yeah, man. Russ, where were you exactly when you heard that news? Just curious.
I was at home actually, here with my kids, and I was actually on my phone, and I saw one of my friends had posted on Facebook. I was actually on Facebook, and I saw one of my friends had posted that Kobe had passed, and I saw like a couple of the comments. They didn't like the people who were commenting on his post didn't believe it. They were, I guess, they felt the same way I felt when I heard it, that it's maybe a hoax,
Yeah,
like this isn't true. And so I saw his comment. My friend posted back and said, "No, it really is true." So I went right to Google and I Googled it. I just put Kobe Bryant in, and when I popped it up, it was everywhere. Like, all of the news, everything that popped up was about this, and I was like, "No, this can't be." And I was just in shock. And I went and told my daughters and my
hmm
son, my three youngest, and just it just hit me really hard, man. It hit me hard, and just being a father, and having daughters, and it hit me pretty hard when I first heard about it, because it was just a shock, a major
yeah,
shock is what I can say. And so I mean, and I've never met Kobe Bryant.
right,
I wasn't friends with Kobe
right,
Bryant. I watched him play. I wasn't even a big fan of Kobe Bryant as far as like rooting for
right.
him, but it's no different than, I wasn't a Joe Montana fan growing up, or Jerry Rice, but I know their greatness and I appreciate what they meant to, the sports, and watching, having to root against them. Same thing with Michael Jordan. I was never a big Michael Jordan fan. I always rooted against him.
Right.
But if you ask, when you talk about some of the greatest, his name's going to come up. Same
Absolutely.
thing with Kobe. I
Absolutely.
rooted against him a lot of the times, but respected, his game.
Yeah.
So he's just another Larry Bird is another one. I talk very highly of Larry Bird today because I can appreciate what he meant to the game and what but I always rooted against him. So Kobe's just another one of those guys that I always rooted against him. But I'll tell you the honest truth. I used to argue with my brothers about Kobe, his greatness and those type of things. when he was playing, when he was like younger,
Um,
and I really gained my respect for Kobe when I watched the documentary that they had. I believe it was HBO, Showtime, one of those channels. They did a documentary, and I think it was Showtime, to be honest with you. Um, and I remember watching that, and that I gained so much respect for him as not only just a basketball player, because I already respected him there, what he could do on the court, but I respected him as a man when I heard him talk about, the situation that happened in Denver,
yeah, the
and
rape
he talked
allegation.
about but he talked about the infidelity part of
Yeah,
it, with his wife, and how, and I mean, I really felt that because I could tell he was speaking straight from the heart. The guy was so passionate about everything
yeah,
he did, and when he spoke, it was strength, it was strong. So it hit me, and I was like, wow. And then watching him go through his rehabilitation at that time, when, I mean, picking up marbles with your toes, rehabilitating his Achilles heel, and how he came back and reinvented himself as the Black Mamba, like all of that stuff. I was like, I left watching that and said, you know what, this guy is even greater than what I thought,
right.
and I, from that point on, I always respected Kobe. Um, of what kind of a competitor he was. He was a fierce competitor. I
Right.
don't know too many. You talk Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, fierce
Yeah,
competitor.
absolutely.
So, and was we don't know what else Kobe would have been. You know, moving on in his life, because he didn't retire that long ago,
Uh-huh.
but we already see the stuff he was doing as a father and as a family man.
Right.
And that I got nothing but love and respect for, as a father myself. And um so it's, man, it's just tough, and I can only imagine what Veronica and his other three daughters are going through. The little baby,
Vanessa.
she, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, Vanessa. I'm sorry. What they're going through, and as well as all of the other families that were affected. I mean, you know, the Bellies, all of them that
yeah,
lost somebody, lost their loved
yeah.
ones. We send their prayers out and love to them, man. And if the fans, and if we're feeling like that, I can only imagine what they're going through.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely. I was
we're
I was at my mom's house. I was visiting my mom, and we were just sitting there watching
mhm.
television, and a buddy of mine, texted me. And the text came in, and it was like, and all it said was Kobe question mark. Oh my God. I was like, what? So I texted back. I was like, what are you talking about? He said, look it up, Kobe. And that's it. And I did. I looked it up, and I was like, whoa, oh my God, what? So I texted him back, and he was like, yeah, man, he died. I'm like, in a helicopter crash. I'm like, no, man, stop it. And then after that, all the floodgates open. Everybody started texting and tweeting, and social media was going insane. Um, and then me and you was texting back and forth, trying to get everything straight.
Right.
I mean, to build on to continue on what you were saying, man, Kobe, Russ, I gained my respect for Kobe Bryant after Shaquille O'Neal left the Lakers, after Shaq left the Lakers, and it wasn't. See, I'm like you. I had I was never a big Kobe fan. I really wasn't. Um,
Right.
but like you said, I had a kind of a up and down sort of relationship, if you will, with Kobe. At one point I respected him. You know, I thought he was a
Yes.
great player. I always thought Kobe was a great player. I respected him, and
Yeah.
then
Absolutely.
yeah, and then the years with Steve Nash, where, when Steve Nash came to the Lakers, yeah, I lost some respect for him because he had done some things that wasn't favorable to my liking, and then when Shaquille O'Neal after Shaq left, and then that happened with the Steve Nash uh, uh, signing.
That's when they had Carl Malone and all of those guys, right?
Actually, no, no. That
Steve
that was
Nash.
that was before that. That was before that. That was when
Okay.
Shaq and they had Shaq and Kobe and that's when they lost to the Detroit Pistons. You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was
Okay.
after
Okay.
that, and so after the whole Steve Nash episode happened, that whole Steve Nash tenure was done. When Pau Gasol came along, um, that's when I started respecting Kobe because Kobe took on a role of a leader, and he was
Absolutely.
and he was the uh, preeminent leader on that team, and he would. I mean, he basically was the Jordan of the Lakers. I mean, Kobe.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
Kobe always felt Kobe was the closest thing to Michael Jordan. You know,
Right.
the closest thing.
He emulated his game. I mean, he
Absolutely
definitely did emulate it, but he, and it's funny you say that because I want you to continue too, but that was one of the things that I didn't like early on
right,
from him. But I understand it.
right.
I learned to understand it as by the end of his career, I understood
Right.
it and I respected
Yeah,
it. But
Kobe would go as far as even sounding like Jordan when he spoke.
right,
You know what
right,
I mean?
right,
So
right.
yeah, and I didn't like that either. I didn't take to that very well either. But um, the series, the time when he got really my respect, Russ was it was when they lost to the Boston Celtics in 2008 in the finals.
Yes,
He took that loss so hard, and he took it on
yes,
upon himself. He said, "You know what?
yes.
We're not going to lose this. If we get back to the finals, we're not losing again." And
Right. Yep.
and they got back to the finals. I believe it was the
Yeah. It was the next
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 season.
season.
And remember, Russ, Kobe had I believe there was one game there. Kobe had a terrible game. Uh,
Yeah.
he was 6 for 24 from the field. But here's why I say I respect him because he's such a competitor. He has so much belief in his abilities that
Yes. Confidence,
yeah
man.
that he kept shooting. A lot of
Yeah.
players would after the first I don't know 12 misses they would say, you know what, I'm just gonna start passing the ball. Kobe didn't care. He didn't give up. He's like,
Right.
this is who I am. I'm a scorer. I'm a leader of this team. And if I quit on this team as far as being aggressive, that's going to send a bad message to my team. So
Right.
he was missing, but man, he kept shooting, and I respected him so much for that. And then went on to win that series, you know.
Right.
And Kobe, that's when I really, really gained respect for Kobe, and I followed. I was really rooting for him at that point, because
Right.
he proved that he didn't need Shaquille O'Neal to win big. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He had some good players around him, but more importantly, he was the anchor of that team.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? So,
Yes.
man, I'm telling you, Russ, man, it's so heartbreaking, and my heart is so heavy right now, man.
Yeah, man.
Dude, his second act after his basketball career, I think was equally going to be as good, or maybe even better. I had visions of Kobe.
That's
Right.
right.
I had visions of Kobe, executive producing blockbuster movies, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whatever. He just was one of those guys. He was so smart. He was
Yes.
dedicated to whatever he wanted to be involved in. Not only was he a family man, but man, I mean, he was a teacher. He was a
Yes.
student as well. You know what I mean? I mean, Kobe Bryant, us the losing Kobe Bryant, man. It took away something, from
It
us, really.
yeah. I mean, because there was so much. That's why I said
He had so much
there
to
was so
offer,
much
right? So much
more.
to
Yeah.
offer.
We don't know where he was gonna go because he was headed in such a high direction. He still the ceiling was still high even after all of his basketball
Right,
accomplishments, just in life in
right,
general. And I'm glad you brought up the whole thing about that series with the Celtics and everything because looking when I look back on that one, that is the point where he became the guy to me.
right,
He became the guy as far as like you said, being the winner. And the thing is, prior to that season, Phil Jackson spoke about it that year when they lost to the
Mm-hmm.
Celtics. Kobe was not he was never considered a very good leader
Right.
as far as on his teams, like his team with his teammates. He wasn't a good teammate, I should say, not
Right.
leader, but wasn't a good teammate at that
Yeah.
time. And he did it. One of the things he did that offseason was dedicated himself to being a better
Mm-hmm.
teammate. And to do that, you have to understand the game and have to be a student of the
Yeah.
game. And Kobe was definitely a student of the
Yeah.
game. Um, I really enjoyed it after he retired, watching his breakdowns, his show, his little podcast that he would do,
Yeah.
where he would break down, basketball film. He would look at
Yeah.
old players,
Russ.
old
Yeah,
players.
I know what you're talking about.
This guy. This guy respected the game so much. He would talk about Elgin Baylor, and
Yeah.
that's dear to my heart because I love studying the game. Whether it's football, the games that
Right.
I love studying them. Boxing,
Right.
football, basketball, whatever it is, tennis. Whatever it is, I like studying it and seeing, how did they do it back then and where did it come from, how they go, and I like the history of it. And obviously Kobe was one of those guys that loved it too. So I really enjoyed listening to
Mm-hmm.
him his breakdowns were so
Yeah.
detailed. He would I mean, I remember watching the first one I saw was the one he was talking about Elgin Baylor.
Right.
And one of my favorites, when I look back in the past, a very underrated player, underrated Laker,
Right.
one of the greatest Lakers.
Right.
And the way Kobe talked about his game, he talked about Jerry West's jump shot. This guy was a student of the game. He really studied the game. He really loved the
Mm-hmm.
game, and his competitiveness. I mean, his competitiveness and drive. There was so many players that tried to be Michael Jordan. I mean, they used to have the song "Be Like
Right.
Mike," the commercial. The phrase.
Yeah, I mean, hell, we had Harold Miner, Baby Jordan. Remember that?
So yeah, so many. I mean, so many. J.R. Ryder.
Right.
So many that came through and were supposed to be the next Michael. They're supposed to be the next Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why early on I didn't respect it as much from Kobe, because it seemed like he was just trying to copy Mike. It seemed like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't. I couldn't tell at that time that this guy had a drive that was a lot deeper than just being a copycat. Like
Right.
his drive and ambition to be the best. He was looking at it, and now when I look at it, I see it the right way. Like, he was going. He saw Jordan as the best. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't you? If you want to be the best, then you have to look to see what this guy was doing. That's why he wanted to know, how do you play your defense? How do you do, and it's like he was really taking that in to put it into his game, but not to be like Mike, but to try to be better than Mike.
Right.
Even, whether you agree if he's better than Mike or not, but that was his goal. His mission was to be the best.
Absolutely.
And anything you do, I respect that. I love that about, that's why it's hard for me to hate on like the Tom Brady's, and I like winners, and Kobe was definitely a winner. And that Mamba mentality, as everybody's calling it, is definitely something real.
Right.
That Mamba mentality, his mentality was unbreakable. Even Michael Jordan said it. He said most guys he could get in their heads, he couldn't get in Kobe's head. And even this is a kid out of high school.
Right.
And Jordan couldn't get in his head. That you
It's
spoke
amazing.
about it. Amazing. So a lot of guys tried to be Jordan, but this guy actually could do it. He actually had the talent and the mental edge, because that's what makes these guys great. The ones that we call the GOATs, it's a
Mm-hmm.
mental edge. It's a mental victory that these guys carry. And
Yep.
man, Kobe had that mental. I mean, the start his career shooting those air balls in
Right.
Utah,
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely. Yep.
and to go to the gym after the game and say, I'm staying. Not everybody's got that kind of dedication.
Right.
That's that Floyd Mayweather type of dedication,
Yeah. I mean,
to
Russ,
your craft.
there's been stories of Kobe going to hang out with or early on in his career, going to hang out with his teammates and leaving the club at 1 o'clock in the morning, going to the gym and shooting around till like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Well, exact. That's like I just said. That's funny because Floyd used to do the same thing. He'd go hang out at the clubs, and when everybody else is going to, and he's not drinking or smoking or anything,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to go jog for 8 miles after
Right,
at 3 in the morning after the
right,
club. You know
right.
that's that dedication that people take for granted. A lot of times, take for granted when they watch sports. They
Mm-hmm.
take for granted and they say things about, but they don't realize, man, a guy like Tom Brady, what it takes to be Tom Brady.
Right, right,
What kind of work is he putting in? Kobe's, Jordan's, even LeBron's, whatever.
right,
These guys, Magic, Bird, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice,
right.
Michael Irvin, all these guys that work so hard and passionate about what they do. And you got to respect that.
Absolutely.
People sometimes try to belittle it because it's sports. And it's like, no, because you could take the mentality that these guys took to sports and put it into anything you do
Right.
to be successful. So, it's just it's a crazy loss for his family.
Yeah, man. It's
And
absolutely devastating. I mean,
yeah,
to lose, to first of all, not only just Kobe, and the rest of those people, but his daughter, man.
yeah, man.
His daughter was on the path to
Yes,
success. There's no question in my mind. I mean,
she was
Kobe was,
gonna.
yeah, he
Yeah,
was training her, working with her. She's very little talented little girl, beautiful little girl, unbelievable, man. Ah, man,
yeah,
it just
and and,
hurt me
and,
so
and
hard.
she mirrored her daddy's game too. Like
Yes,
if you watch
yes,
her play, because I started, we love sports, so it's like we're into that stuff. And I
yes,
watched, I was watching some of her videos, and I was starting to see her like being at the games with him and stuff, and and he's teaching her, sitting there at the sidelines of the Lakers game, teaching her, talking
yes.
to her, and I'm sure he's like pointing out stuff, that's going on the court. And I mean,
Hmm.
as a parent, both of us can, your son is playing football right now, something that you
Right,
played. And,
right.
you know what I mean? So it's like I know
Yeah,
you've had
absolutely,
those
man.
moments as well when
I
you're sitting
did,
there,
yeah.
you guys are watching
Those
some
and those are precious moments,
precious moments,
You
man.
can't you can't money you can't put a price on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I've
And
done it with mine as well. Still doing it with my girls. They
hmm.
doing gymnastics, and I mean, I didn't know that much about gymnastics, but as a father, I know a lot now, and I enjoy
Right.
the talking with them and discussing what's going to make them better, and all those things. So it's just it's heartbreaking as a father, as a parent, to see
It
that
really is.
happen when he's taking his daughter and her teammates, and their parents to their basketball game, and I mean, just tonight. I mean, this is something I do every Tuesday and Thursday. Is
Hmm.
taking my girls to gymnastics practice and picking them up, and we talking in the car. So it's like I look at it like that could have been me and my girls.
Right. Right.
Coming back from
Exactly.
gymnastics practice.
Hmm.
you know. So it's terrible, man. And
It's gut wrenching. It really is, man. It really is gut wrenching. I mean, and what's even more sad is it actually could have been prevented. You know,
right, right,
um, apparently the pilot was told that he shouldn't be. I mean, I might be mistaken. I'm not sure.
because of the
Please,
fog.
right, because of the fog, the dense fog, and they couldn't really see, no more than a mile, and he, I guess maybe he felt confident enough that he could make it to wherever they're making, wherever they're going, and it didn't happen like that. And man, they said that thing was, it was falling so fast. I think it was like 2,000 feet or 200 or 200, yeah, 2,000 feet per minute,
Wow.
falling to the ground. Yeah, I mean that's unbelievable, man. It's man, again, man, I'm so crushed for all those families, you
Yeah.
know. And Russ, sometimes I say to myself like, Kobe Bryant, I can't like believe it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
It's hard to because he's so young and he has so much more living to do, and
Right.
it's like if you say it out loud, Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter. It just I can't wrap my head around it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Oh man, that sucks. I
yeah,
swear, man.
man.
Prayer goes out to the Bryant family and the rest of those families that was in that helicopter, man.
Yeah,
We're thinking about them. They're in our prayers, man, and I just hope Vanessa and the rest of the girls can cope with and find a way to because it's going to be really really difficult. Find a way to at least try to cope or deal with it. I mean, could you,
right.
Russ? Can you imagine what the funeral is going to be like?
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
unbelievable. It's gonna be. It's just gonna be more of the. Death it goes in steps. It goes
Yeah,
in steps. You go through each phase, and it's just
yeah.
gonna
There's
be
phases. Yeah,
another part of the phase. And a lot of times, it's the funeral is when you really come to grips and realize this is it. They're
yeah,
not coming back, and that's gonna be the rough thing. And then it does it. That's not the last phase. Like it continues.
yeah.
You know.
And honestly, kudos to the NBA for doing what they can with in sort of impromptu type of mode. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It happened during the NBA games. It happened games that was basically getting ready to start. Um, you know, good job NBA. Y'all did a good job, doing that. Even college, University of Connecticut dedicated a seat on the bench to Kobe's daughter,
I saw
Gianna.
that. I saw that because that's where she wanted to go.
Yeah, and I'm proud of the NBA, man. Kudos to them. What they should do, to this next step, they should do, honestly, Russ, in my opinion, All Star games coming up. I think each side to wear one of Kobe's jersey number, all of them. Like the West wear 24 and the East wear 8. Every
That would
player wear 8. You know what I mean?
that would be yeah. That's a good idea, man. I like that.
Yeah, to just in honor of him, because he was not only a great player, but he was a great person, and he he, he was a positive for the NBA. NBA's had a lot of negative things about it, throughout the
Yeah,
years, but he was
yeah,
one of the beacons of light for the NBA. The NBA can say, look, we got this guy. He's a great, what I'm saying, he's great on and off the court.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think they should do that, man. I really do. I mean, by the way, when is the All Star game? Is it
Uh,
like mid February? Isn't it like mid
it's
February or
always in
something?
February. Yeah, mid February usually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I think they should do something like that, man. I mean, just to honor his name,
I'm
you
sure
know.
they will. They've been doing a lot, and I'm sure
Yeah.
they're working on stuff.
Yeah.
To show
Yeah.
even more tribute and respect.
Yeah. You're right, because I mean, if they went ahead and did the 24 and the 8 second clock violation, they should.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll have no problem doing that. You know what I'm saying, with
yeah,
the jerseys and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. And you know what? The Sixers actually did that. Just the Sixers though.
Yeah, they did that for
They
his high school, right? I
uh
believe Lower Marion and they
Well, they retired his. They put his number from the 33 from that he used at
from
Lower
his high
Merion.
school.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they
yeah.
also when they came out on the floor. Now they didn't keep those jerseys on and play like that. But
Uh-huh.
when they came out onto the court, when they ran out onto the court, half of the team had 24s, the other half
Yeah,
had 8.
yeah.
Jerseys
That was
on
good.
when they came out, and then Embiid played with the 24 number,
Yeah,
and
that was good.
he actually called Bobby Jones, former Sixer.
Yeah,
Um, Sixer
and
great,
asked him if to
and
wear his
yeah,
number.
his retired number, and
Yeah,
and, and Bobby Jones told him, that number. Kobe did it on both ends of the court. Bobby Jones was known for doing it on both ends of the court, playing
right,
defense, and he told him, you got to play defense if you're gonna wear it.
right.
So yeah, that was
Yeah,
that
man.
was that was pretty cool. I thought so.
Yeah, that's wow. So yeah, I'm still speechless a little bit, Russ, man. It's just I can't believe that. What a tragic, just devastatingly tragic, catastrophic thing to happen,
Eh,
to a guy that had so much to live for, so much to give, you
right,
know. A philanthropist, you know what I'm saying?
right.
And then Kobe, honestly, Russ, Kobe could have been a hell of an NBA analyst, honestly. I mean, he
Yes,
was that
yeah,
talented. He was
yeah.
a
Well, I mean,
talented guy.
right. We were talking
You
about his
know,
show. His show that I used to watch. I mean, where he was breaking down film and everything. I mean, the guy was a student of the game.
yeah, absolutely.
He really understood the game.
Absolutely. Student of the game, just like you. That was a perfectly put word. Student. I mean, he studied the game inside out, and he knew nuances, tendencies.
Right,
Players. He even knew players' bios and all that. He studied players' bios and history.
right.
It's so sad, man. It's so sad. I'm so you know
And
it's so hard. I'm so oh man.
and
I'm lost for words.
to the youth out there or any parents listening, if your child is playing basketball, male, boy, girl, doesn't matter. If they're playing, do like Kobe. Be a student of the game.
Right.
Whatever you're doing, if it's football, study the greats,
Right.
regardless what era it came from. Don't just only focus on this era because you already know
Right.
this era. Go back and watch some and see
Right.
what made them great in their era, in their time. Don't try to compare them
Absolutely.
to anybody today. Just watch them and see what made them great in that time.
Absolutely.
And you'll learn something for it. If Kobe could do it, then why can't who are you to not do it? That's how I look at that.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But another thing I didn't mention too. I know we've been talking about Kobe, and rightfully so. But the night before, because I'm a Sixers fan, the
Uh-huh.
night before I watched the Lakers and the Sixers in Philly play. The
Yeah.
Sixers ended up winning the game, and in fact, they kind of blew the Lakers out. But
Yeah.
the thing is, that's the game that LeBron James
Yes. He broke
passed.
Kobe
Yeah,
scoring title.
he came
Right.
in. I
Scoring
think
record.
he only needed 15 points or something going into the
Mm-hmm.
game, and he broke it, of course. And it was in Philly where Kobe, grew up half of his
Mm-hmm.
life,
Right. Right.
with his dad being, playing for the Sixers as well back in the
Right.
days, Joe Bryant, and of course he also lived in Spain where his dad also played.
Right.
So but anyway, the point I was making is that I was just, I remember late that night watching. One of the last things I watched that night was that game, and
Mm-hmm.
after everybody was talking about LeBron and Kobe, that's all they were running.
Mm-hmm.
And that night, and they were interviewing. I watched LeBron soccer where he's discussing Kobe, talking about Kobe, how what Kobe meant to the game and everything. And then the next day, like at that time watching that, who knew in less than
Who
12
knew? Right.
hours,
Right. Right.
this tragedy was going to happen.
Right.
And Kobe tweeted out to him and congratulated LeBron and told him to keep the league going. It's
Right.
that added even more to my
Yeah.
shock and
It's
how
very
how
shocking.
how I felt because I had just been watching, seeing the
Yeah.
highlights of Kobe and the LeBron and them talking about him passing Kobe and what it meant and LeBron giving so much respect and accolades to Kobe, and then
Mm-hmm.
to wake up the next day and then that morning to hear this tragedy, it was just, man, it was
Yeah.
unbelievable. Still
It
is. It's
yeah.
still
It
like
really is.
a major shock.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. Oh man, I tell you, honestly, Russ, it just goes to show that life is so, 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 so precious,
It is, man.
so
So
precious.
short. Yeah.
Life, you could be here one day and gone tomorrow, the next.
Exactly.
It,
Tomorrow's not
it's
promised.
yeah, exactly. That's why, man. Um, I tell my kids every day I love them every day.
Oh yeah.
You know what
That's
I mean?
that's always a given. Yeah.
I tell my kids every day, I love them, I love you, and they say it back. They don't care,
Yeah.
It's,
Right.
just to know, let them know that Daddy is here for you. I'm here for you. I love you. I'll do anything for you.
Right.
Please. And I tell Marcus and Breeders, I say, look, whatever you have, any questions you have, I don't care what it's about, anything.
Right.
Please don't be afraid to come to your dad, or what I'm saying, or your mom for that matter. But yeah, speaking just as from a dad's perspective, don't don't be afraid to come to your dad
Right.
and ask questions. It could be about anything. You know what I mean? So
And I do
yeah,
the
man.
same. I do the same, Chief. I do the same. You know, I One of the favorite things I love to do is listen to my kids talk, or the fact that they're comfortable enough to come to
Yeah,
me and talk about and tell me things. They're comfortable enough to
yeah.
tell me to talk about things. We can talk about any subject. I mean, who knows what we can talk about at any time. We're always talking about something, and it's good to keep that communication going with them
Mm-hmm.
so they feel comfortable to come to you, like you said. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whether good or bad, we can sit down and figure it out. We can
Right.
figure out how to help you and get out of it or whatever.
Right.
So
Exactly. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Unbelievable. Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, that's I'm like I said, I'm at a loss for words, man. I don't know what to say, what to think anymore, bro. Just
yeah,
live life to its fullest, and enjoy family and celebrate family, and
absolutely,
you know what I mean, and tell your loved ones you love them. You know,
right,
don't be try not to stay mad at somebody that you love for a
right,
long time because you never know. You know what I mean?
right,
So
absolutely, absolutely. And the crazy thing is, people listening. I mean, we were supposed to do this episode on Saturday. That day, that happened. We were supposed to do that episode, and we just couldn't do it. It was
oh
not
yeah,
good.
yeah, Sunday. That was
Sunday,
that Sunday.
Sunday,
Yeah.
yeah. It was Saturday night. I watched the
Mhm.
game. Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah,
supposed
we
to do
supposed
this.
to.
This episode was supposed to be done on Sunday, and
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I like I felt your energy, and I knew already knew how I feel, and my heart was way too heavy, Russ. I don't know
yeah,
how, I wouldn't have been able to talk, honestly.
right,
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have been no more good because yeah, I would have just been at a loss of words, honestly. I wouldn't have
right,
given our fans and our listeners anything. I wouldn't have been able to do that because I was so shocked and in just distraught and just in disbelief.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It was pretty rough, man, and it's
hmm
still not, it's still going. Like the shock is not left.
yeah,
You know,
it hasn't. Yeah, it's
yeah.
still and guess what? When that funeral comes around,
It's gonna be,
it's
yeah,
gonna it's gonna come right back again.
yeah,
You know.
because it's gonna finalize it.
Yep.
He's not coming back, and then
Yeah.
the process. I mean, for the family and friends and love, it's gonna continue.
hmm
We've all dealt with losing loved ones and close, family. It
hmm
never gets. It doesn't get better.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be there. So
Yeah. Wow. Well, just keep them in our prayers, man. Keep Vanessa and the kids, and
yeah,
and her, Kobe's mom and dad and his sisters. You know,
yeah,
just pray for that. Pray for them, man, because that
and the other
that
families too.
that's an unspeakable event that happened.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You can't put into words. You can't even. There's no making sense of it. It's illogical almost. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just crazy. So yeah, but I mean, yeah. Let's digress here for a minute.
yeah, yeah.
Man,
I mean,
the Super Bowl is coming up this weekend on Sunday.
yeah,
Uh, Finally, that's the final game of the NFL season. Unfortunately, I mean, we would love football so much, but
oh yeah,
at the end of the day, they got to crown a champion. So,
yes.
my question to you is, um, how do you go about picking, who you want to pick? Who do you got?
You want me to go first? All right, I'll go
Yeah,
first.
yeah,
Man, Chiefs. So we got the Chiefs representing the AFC. We got the 49ers representing the NFC.
hmm
Um, I'll start with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are their offense is as dynamic and explosive as you can get for an offense.
yeah,
With Patrick Mahomes, uh, is an amazing athlete, amazing quarterback.
yep,
He's the sky's the limit for him moving
yep,
forward in this league. Then you got Travis Kelsey. I mean, which is to me, I know Grunk is retired, and even when Grunk was still in the last few years, I kind of for the last few years was saying Kelsey was the best tight end in the league. I thought he had surpassed Gronk, but that's just
Right.
me.
Right.
I really respect Kelsey's game. He's a major threat, and then when you add in all of the other the speed that offense carries, all
Hmm.
the other guys, the receivers, the Sammy Watkins, and um, Tyreek Hill. Though it's a very explosive offense, and with
Me Cole Hardman, the
yeah,
speedy guy they got there. Yeah.
yes, yeah. I mean, and and with Patrick Mahomes, at the helm,
Yeah.
or orchestrating, this guy has amazing timing.
Yes.
With his passes, like he's throwing the ball in where he expects his receivers to be
Yeah.
before they're there.
Anticipation. Yep.
Yes, and he can anticipate where they're going to be, and that's an amazing thing to say about him being such a young guy, already. And
Hmm.
I think their offense is really top heavy. They're really good offense. They can score on anybody, and you know their defense. I would say I've never been big on Chiefs defenses. This year is probably one of the better ones that I've seen that they've had. Um, they're not they're not a number one defense in my mind, or one of the best defenses of all time. They're not one of those type of defenses, but
Right. They're
I
solid.
they're solid enough to be a
Yeah.
champion, you know.
Right. Right.
And then we have the 49ers on the other end for the NFC. You know, I believe their defense is one of those defenses where you can say, "Hey, that's a really good defense."
Hmm.
Their
Hmm.
their defense is really good. You know, um, they rush the passer. They have speed as well on that defense. They're
Yeah.
really physical, very aggressive,
Yes.
and because of their front seven, it really benefits the back end with with Richard Sherman and those guys back there.
Yeah.
So they're very talented on defense. They have a very balanced, I'll say, offense
Yeah.
because they can run the ball really well. You know, very physical, NFC style football.
Hmm.
They can smash mouth you, but then they got this guy Garoppolo, at the helm, and he's another talented quarterback.
Yeah.
And Garoppolo, he broke all of Tony Romo's records. When he was they all went to the same college,
Hmm.
so he broke Tony Romo's records. And Tony,
Eastern Illinois, right?
yep, exactly, Eastern
Hmm.
Illinois. So he broke all of Tony Romo's records, and Romo had broken the coach of the Saints, Sean Payton's records when he
Right.
was there, because Sean Payton
Right.
was a quarterback at Eastern Illinois and held all the records until Romo got there, broke all of them, and then Garoppolo broke his. So
Uh-huh.
anyway, Garoppolo, I believe, is a very good quarterback. I think he's. I think you asked me that on one of our last episodes or whatever. If I thought he had, if he had lived up to the hype.
Yeah. And
And
man, that was my question to you, right? Like, do you think the jury is still out on Jimmy Garoppolo? Meaning, I mean, because quite frankly, we hadn't seen enough from this guy as
true,
far as taking over a team leadership type of, situation standpoint,
yeah,
you know?
I don't think we can slam the gavel confidently,
Right. Right.
but I do believe that he's going to live up to
Okay.
it, because I think we haven't seen him, like you said, we haven't seen all of it, but I think it's because of the team he plays on why we haven't seen it. He's not in a
Okay.
position where the team rests on his arm.
Hmm.
But what people miss, I think, is that he actually has the arm to where the team could rest on it.
Right.
I think he's because he wasn't breaking records at Eastern Illinois handing the ball off. He was
Right.
to beat those guys were all guns. Even Peyton, people don't know, but Sean Payton was a gunslinger. Romo was a
Right.
gunslinger, and Garoppolo is a gunslinger. But because he plays with the Niners, where they have a solid defense, a solid run game, he doesn't have to do as much as he possibly could. But
Right.
we might see that in this game.
Right.
In this game, I think that. So I've said all of that to get to this. Um, I'm leaning towards a victory for the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
And as a Cowboys fan, that's not what I want to happen. But
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, as a football fan, just looking at it like how I just broke it down, I think the 49ers are going to win this game because of the defense that they
Mm-hmm.
have, because they're able to run the ball, and that can speed the game up a lot more. And if
Mm-hmm.
they can do that successfully and Garoppolo make plays when he has to, they can maybe keep that high-powered offense on the sidelines
Mm-hmm.
of the Chiefs a little bit longer. It kind of reminds me of when the Bills and the Giants played in the Super Bowl, where Scott Norwood
Yeah.
missed the field goal.
Yes. The wide right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the Bills came in. They were the Chiefs. They were the high-powered offense. You know what I
Yes.
mean, with a decent
Yes.
defense and everything. And the Giants were solid defense and a good run game.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
That's true.
and they just needed. And what they did was they sped that game up because they were running the ball, and their defense,
Yeah.
when they got stops, their offense had long drives.
Yep.
Long
Otis Anderson, baby.
Otis
Remember him?
Anderson. Yeah, oh yeah. Otis Anderson. So I
Yeah.
mean, I kind of see it that way. I don't know if it's going to be that close, but I think that was one of the greatest Super Bowls in my opinion. Anyway, not the greatest, but
Absolutely.
absolutely one of the greatest Super Bowls I remember watching. Um,
Absolutely. Dave
and
Meggett. Oh my God, man.
yeah,
You got
that was a great game. You
yeah.
know, and I want to see, and I think that's what we'll get. I'm hoping that's what we'll get with this game,
Yeah.
as
Me too.
far as entertainment appeal to it. And
Mhm.
but I'm going with the 49ers to win this game, win the Super Bowl. I see it being probably a score of like 28-25 or something like that. Like
Okay.
it could even go into overtime.
Right.
It could even
Okay.
go into overtime. So that's my prediction. What do
That's
you
your
got, Will?
prediction. All right. Well, let me preface what I'm about to say by saying this. I think your position could very easily happen because I believe these two teams are strength versus strength. The 49ers have a really good defense, a championship caliber defense. The Chiefs have a championship caliber offense. Um, it's going to be really it begs to be a good game because they're comparing and contrasting of each team is so glaring. I'm gonna I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Kansas City Chiefs.
You gonna pick the
Um,
Chiefs? Okay.
yeah, I'll pick the Chiefs. Because I have to make a pick. You know what I mean? I'm not picking them because I think okay, they're clear cut.
Right.
Going to win. I'm picking them because Russ. Honestly, these two teams, they're both very good teams, and they have their strength is the opposite of the other. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Styles make fights, and that's what this is. It's
Right.
the matchup is so good. Like to
Right.
watch
Right.
this type of
Exactly.
matchup. Who's gonna
Which
win? You know, who's gonna
which bodes to be a very very good game. Hopefully,
absolutely.
you know. So yeah, I mean, I'll go with the Kansas City Chiefs in simply because I'll break it down to this factor. Um, if I had to pick a quarterback out of the each of the out of this game, who would have more success, I would go with Patrick Mahomes. Um, like I said, the jury's still out on Garoppolo. I'm not saying Garoppolo is a bad quarterback. I just haven't seen enough from him yet
Right.
to make that that conclusion.
Definitely
Um,
understand that.
right, and like I said, the 49ers have an excellent defense. That front line, that defensive front is serious. Um, their cornerback, like you said earlier, Russ, they sort of their defensive backfield is successful predicating upon that defensive line. Um, Nick Bosa, Buckeye, by the way. Our Eric Armstead, D Ford, DeForest Buckner. Those guys are studs, man. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Buckner
and
is holding that middle down, man. I mean,
yeah, he is. And Bosa's coming off the edge, like he did in his days playing for Ohio State, the Ohio State. But I
Man,
mean,
those Bosa boys are no joke, man.
yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. I mean, D-line you. Anyway, but Kansas City, man, Pat Mahomes is just special, Russ.
He is.
He's just special. You know what I'm saying? And that's what is leading me to pick the Chiefs because the Chiefs do have a great, excellent offense. I mean, Travis
Yes.
Kelce, like you mentioned, they got the Cheetah, aka Tyreek Hill. Uh,
Right.
what I mean, Mecole Hardman. They got speed, man. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
I mean, amazing speed.
Yeah, Damian Williams is another guy out of the running back out of the backfield who can kill you. You know what I mean? So, um, I'm kind of going against my theory or my philosophy here, where defense wins championships.
Right, because
Um,
I was going to point out, so I know I pointed out the Giants and Bills, but
yeah,
there's some other ones that were similar to this too, though.
yeah, exactly. So I would, man,
Greatest show on turf.
yeah, exactly. Same thing. Same. That's what I'm saying. So, but see, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs because I believe strongly in Patrick Mahomes. I believe Patrick Mahomes has such a feel for the game, man, that he helps the defense even. The defense is sort of it's almost like a psychological thing when your defense is on the field. The Chiefs defense, when they're on the field and they get a stop. Let's say the Chiefs get a stop, and Pat Mahomes gets on the field. The defense is they're so much more confident and comfortable knowing they have a guy who's able to elevate the team. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
that is so true. I mean,
Yes.
people don't realize, when you're playing that game, like a lot of people have never played the game, they don't realize how important that is. When you're on the sideline and you see your guy go out there, it could be like sometimes it's like a hit from a linebacker. He makes a big hit, and that could
Right.
ignite the entire team to be like, oh, we
Exactly.
got to go. So I definitely, you're 100% right with that.
Yeah.
Like, and Mahomes is that guy. Like the things he does on the field, it motivates that defense to come out.
Yes.
Even in the AFC Championship game, he did that for them.
Yes. It's
So
inspiring.
yes,
It inspires the guys. They go out there and say, "Man, this boy's
yeah,
he's a dog right now on the field. Let's go out there and play hard
right.
for him."
We're gonna go give the ball back to him. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. So I'm gonna go out and hang my hat on that. I think the Chiefs don't have a horrible defense. They have a pretty
No,
decent.
no, this is the like I said, this is the best defense I've seen them have. I'm always tough on their defenses, but this year they have a championship defense this year.
Yes. Yes. Now on the flip side to that, I do agree with your sentiment when you said about the 49ers running game. Man, Russ, that running game is unbelievable.
Right.
Um, they just, I mean, they just road graded the Packers to the tune of 220 something odd yards rushing,
Yeah.
29 carries and 4 touchdowns for Raheem Mostert.
Right.
Russell, let me do you a quick trivia question. Do you know where Raheem Mostert is from?
No.
Exactly. Exactly. That's my point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how good that running game is.
When you can
You
plug
know?
anybody back there and they still produce, yeah.
Right. That's my thing. Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert. They had another guy there. Man, I forgot his name. His name escapes me. But you can put him in there and he'll run for over 100 yards. You know what I mean?
Right,
By the way,
right.
Raheem Mostert's from Purdue. He's from the Big Ten. But so is Tevin Campbell, by the way.
right.
Yeah, Tevin Coleman. I mean, so yeah, that's what I believe. I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and pick the Chiefs, Russ. That's
Uh,
what listen. Let me say this. I'm reluctantly picking them because I know what you just broke down with your 49 with the pick you made. It's a very logical prediction as well on your end. So
oh yeah.
if listen, I gotta make a pick, so I'm going ahead and pick the Chiefs. You know what I mean?
Right. And I definitely understand where you're coming from with the powerhouse offense. That's
Yes.
why I broke down the Chiefs first. I mean, they got that offense and their defense is good enough to win. I mean, but I'm gonna stick with my my
Oh yeah,
logics and my
yeah,
philosophy on this pick. And like you said, this is not a slam dunk in any sense. If
right,
whether I was going
right.
to pick the Chiefs or the 49ers, it's a tough choice. It's not like this is an
Absolutely,
easy pick
absolutely.
because of the styles, like the matchup. Like you said, they're both.
Yes,
You got a powerhouse defense, an amazing offense, and something's got to give. Something's got
yes,
to give.
exactly, exactly. So that's my pick. Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl 54 champions.
Yeah, I got the 49ers.
Okay. Well, I guess let me give you a score. I guess wow.
Yeah, I said 28-25,
20
possible overtime, field goal in overtime.
okay. I'm gonna go ahead with I'll go 30. I'll go 30 to 26. Kansas City. 30 to 26. Beat them by
Okay.
4 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah,
that's
30.
that's about the same. I mean we're right in the same
Right.
area, 30-26, 28-25. Yeah.
Right.
We're still in the
Yeah.
same
So
area.
exactly. So but yeah, man, but listen, I was listening to something on the local radio here in the DMV, and they were talking about Tom Brady. Some guy was mad because Tom Brady, made this little tweet, this cryptic tweet about, I don't know if you've seen the tweet, Russ, but
No,
he
I
had.
didn't.
You didn't see it? Okay, well, let me describe it to you. It's actually just a visual tweet. It's not anything written, no literature.
Was it
It's just
just like emojis or
no,
something?
no. It's actually a picture of Tom Brady leaving Gillette Stadium.
That's hilarious. That's
Right.
hilarious.
Tom went ahead and posted that, and so the guys were going nuts. Man, Tom, why is he being so selfish? The Super Bowls, why is he taking attention away
Selfish.
from the Super Bowl? Yeah, I'm like,
Selfish.
wait a minute. How do you get all? How is that selfish? Oh yeah, he's taking the attention away from the Super Bowl. If the Super Bowl's right around the corner, why
Listen,
would he
listen,
make a
listen,
selfish?
listen. Once
Unbelievable.
they kick off on Sunday, nobody's gonna be talking about in the middle of the
Tom Brady.
game Tom Brady. After maybe later on, but not
Yeah,
no. He's
right.
not taking anything away from the Super Bowl.
And not at all. Not at all. I mean, they were up in arms, man. That's a selfish act. Why would he do that now and give publicity to him as opposed to, the focus should be on the Super Bowl? I mean, come on, dude. Really?
See, this
No.
is what I was saying earlier, man. People find I don't know why, but the people that are very successful, people have a problem and like to pick at every little thing or they don't like them. And I'm like, I enjoy success. I'm not going to become a
Right.
Patriots fan or nothing like that. I'm going to always be a Cowboys fan. I'm going to root against, Tom Brady. But looking at him and saying, wow, this guy, if I can give respect to as much as I can't stand the 49ers. Sorry,
Right.
Niner fans. I don't like the 49ers. I'm a
Right.
Cowboys fan, so that should tell you that already. You should already know.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the feeling's mutual. So, but if Montana, Rice, I never rooted for any of them. Never,
Right.
never, never was a fan. Michael Jordan, those guys, but never will you hear me deny their greatness or what they,
Right.
you know what I mean, what they did out there. You can't take that away from them.
Can't deny that. You can't. I'm
So
sorry. You can't.
people get really sensitive about these some of these players that, and it's like
Right.
why not appreciate? Not saying
Mm-hmm.
you got to root for them, but respect and
Right.
appreciate. It's just like we've all competed. When we compete, you compete against a great player, and you go and you leave it all out there. Whether they got the better of you or you won, you have respect. You at the end of the game, you slap them five, good game, and you have
Mm-hmm.
a certain level of respect for that person.
Absolutely.
You see fighters do it all the time. They talk all this trash. They seem like they hate each other in the pre-fight, press conferences and the weigh-ins and stuff, and then they fight it out. And once it's over, they can hug and have a certain type of level of respect for
Right.
their opponent. And a lot of fans need to learn that.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, I just noticed that they were, complaining about that. I'm like, wait, come on, man. Just because he, I mean, listen, quickly on your opinion, do you think Tom's staying or going?
I told you I thought if he does go, where he's going, but you know, people got to also understand the business side of this, and he's posturing. You know, he's posturing. I don't think it was for attention, like to take away
Right.
attention from the Super Bowl. I think it's more of posturing going on, where, hey, you know, I'm ready to go if you guys don't want me here. You see what I mean?
Right.
Like, I
Right.
think
Exactly.
it's more like that, and it's just
Right.
more. It's part of negotiating. And today, the day and age we live in, social media is used to negotiate. The owners do it. We saw earlier this season, before the season started, with Jerry Jones and Ezekiel Elliott.
Right.
They both used the media. You know, they both were using the media to negotiate, to
Here's my theory.
for
Here's my theory.
leverage. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. That's true too. You're right for leverage. But here's my theory on that cryptic tweet that Tom Brady tweeted. Um, I think he's trying to scare the Patriots straight so they can give him his damn money.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He's doing it for leverage. He's
Because think about it.
if you guys don't want me here, that's what I didn't mean the fans. I meant like the ownership. Like,
Right. Right.
hey, I'm willing to walk. I'll go somewhere
Right.
else.
Exactly.
Somebody else will take me.
Because
Like
think
the
of
Tennessee Titans,
Titans, right?
if they don't
Or,
sign Tannehill.
or the Los Angeles Chargers. You know what I'm saying?
True.
You know. So listen, here's my thing. Okay, I think he's doing that. Number one, just like you said, scare him straight. Because Tom Brady knows in the back of his mind, when he leaves that place, who are they going to replace him with?
Right.
I mean, seriously,
Right.
who are the Patriots going to say, oh, well, you go ahead, Tom. We got Brian Hoyer? No, I
Right.
don't think so.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We got
Yeah.
Jarrett Stidham?
I know.
No, I don't think so.
I know they better draft a quarterback this year and
Yeah,
not use him as trade bait like they've been
exactly.
doing throughout
Like
Tom's
they've been
career.
doing.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
And I just want to bring us back to one of our earlier podcasts. I don't know which one it was. And I think it might have been the one we discussed, America's team, maybe. Um,
Oh, Lord.
but I remember saying we
Jesus
thought
Christ.
this might not be for a couple years, but I said when Brady and Belichick exit Gillette Stadium as as the like the picture he posted, him leaving Gillette, you know,
Uh
when that's done, the Patriots are done.
huh. I mean, I'm
Nobody's
not going to
gonna care.
argue with that. I'm not
No,
going to argue against that.
nobody's gonna care anymore.
Okay.
And
All right.
maybe for us, like, okay, let's say for instance, if Tom leaves this year, Belichick's not leaving this year. Let's say Belichick coaches another season, right?
Hmm.
Once he exits, let's say Belichick coaches another season and they don't make the playoffs next year without Brady.
Which I'm calling now. They won't make the playoff. But go ahead.
Not just, but keep in mind the division they play in.
Uh huh.
But you got teams coming up though, like the Bills, you know.
Yep. Right. Right.
So the Bills would be right in line to take it, you know.
Right.
But um,
Exactly.
and I'm not counting Belichick out his coaching, but you still need the players. You still need to
Yes. You
keep
still need
players.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and if that happens, what's going to happen is the hatred that a lot of people have for the Patriots will still be there that first couple years, but
Hmm.
when they're not winning and they're losing, at first it will be like, hey, we beat the Patriots for that first season. Then the next
Right.
season is like, the Patriots lost again. Then by that third season, who cares? Oh, the Patriots lost again.
Right. I hear you. I mean, that could be same could be said for your beloved.
And
Uh,
Jerry Jones with the cow. No. That can't be said about the Cowboys. That
yes, it
can't be
can.
said. No. The Cowboys are hated for whoever's lying. You know, Romo's gone, Aikman's gone, Irving. They're still gonna be used on the media to get ratings.
So let me ask you this: if the Cowboys lose or have like 10 straight losing season, you think?
Wait, we've already done that. What are you talking about? We have
Wait, 10 straight losing seasons?
oh,
Losing season?
10 straight losing, meaning like record wise, like we
Yeah.
7-9 or less.
Yes.
We don't need. You see, the thing is with the Cowboys, with Cowboys fans, especially the ones in Dallas, if we don't win the Super Bowl, it's a losing season to them. You see what I mean? So it's like in their mind, we've been losing since '96.
Okay.
So that doesn't even that's already done. Like in the minds of the Cowboy fans, they feel like
All right.
we've been losing ever since. That's what they think.
So okay. All right. Well, I mean,
And
y'all
you know
did
what?
have a losing.
Even the people who hate the Cowboys
Right. I
because
mean,
they'll say you guys haven't won anything since '96.
right, which is facts. Um, but
That was an emphatic facts right there. You know that?
appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I understand your point. You know what I mean? You know, if Brady leaves, there will be some apathy in a couple of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There will be.
yeah.
Uh, Fate
But
and
after,
Patriots fans will start to exit stage left
yeah,
after this couple of next couple of seasons. So,
they're gonna be the Golden State Warriors of the NFL
right, oh Lord, instead of Golden State Warriors.
this season. I mean, do people care about the Warriors right now?
No, they don't.
If if the Sixers beat the Warriors, I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, we beat the Warriors."
Yeah, I know what
Like,
you mean.
no, nobody cares
I know what you
because Belichick and Brady is who's been hated
mean. Right,
with the Patriots. The Cowboys, the star is hated.
right.
You know what I mean?
Okay, well,
Not the stars.
why do you think Brady and Belichick are hated?
Success.
Success.
Yeah,
Well,
success.
now, but Russ, a lot of people don't think it's success. A lot of people think they cheated.
Well, that's part of it. That's part of
Yeah,
they cheated to get success. That's what many
right,
people will say. Some people will say they cheated to get success, and they
right,
hated. But it's not like they loved them before they found out they were cheating or thought they were cheating. They
right,
hated the fact that they were winning every year. Like that's why I said people don't like to see winners a lot. They you
right.
keep winning. Oh, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of
Yeah.
it.
And by the way, on the record, I hate when people say that because that's hater. That's hate talk.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
seriously,
can't stand it either. Like I don't understand it.
if the person's winning, why do you hate them because they keep winning? Why?
Right.
You're mad because your team stinks and can't freaking you know fight their way out of a wet paper bag? That's why
Right.
you're hating the other team.
And I
You
mean,
know what I mean?
I understand you want to root against them, and that's fine. Like that's cool. They're rivals,
Right.
great. But to hate on them because they're
Yeah.
winning, I think that's weird to me. I respect winners.
You know, man, I hate man. They win too much. Really? Really? What the hell? I mean, seriously, what's the logic behind that?
Right.
I hate them. Why? Because they win too much. Really?
I'd rather win too much than lose too much. That's for sure.
Thank you. Hey, good Lord. I'm speaking of winning and losing and cheating. The Houston Astros.
Wow, that was a great segue, man. That was great.
Appreciate it, man. The Houston Astros is in the news again. They just hired Dusty Baker, man.
Right.
All right, let me ask you this. Do you think Dusty, first of all, he has to understand and realize what he's getting into.
Right.
He's going into an organization who just got busted for cheating.
Right.
I mean, literally, Russ,
Right.
literally
Right.
have cameras on the field.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And during games, Russ. Russ, at least listen. The Patriots cheated. Like they'll cheat on the weekend. They'll cheat on like a Friday. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They'll go like on a Friday. They'll go to like the New York Jets training or practice facility and hide. Steal film or whatever the case would be.
Hey, cheating is cheating, man.
I know, but Russ, these guys. I mean, these guys are doing it during the game, taping people. I mean,
right.
Oh my god.
Right.
Do you think Dusty Baker cares about that, or is he there to sort of change the culture? Because the Houston Astros got rid of both the general manager and their manager.
Right.
You know,
I mean, I think that's the role that he's playing coming in there is to whether he's going to be able to do that or not is another thing. But I think that's the role why they're bringing him in to play that role, and they have to. It's a PR move, in my opinion.
I think so too. They number one because it's almost like a win-win situation. They're bringing in Dusty Baker because Dusty Baker is a hell of a manager. Dusty Baker has made the World Series at everywhere he's been as a manager. You know what I'm saying? So, it's they've got that on their side. Also, they got the fact that okay, you can come in there and he's an image that we can show to the rest of the baseball world and say, okay, we got a guy who's a stand-up guy, who's a winner,
PR move.
Winner.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And to sort of, I guess, play damage control, sort of.
Exactly. And like I said, PR move all the way. And another thing is, the success that Baker has had in his career, you know, if he can come in there and take this same team, can they go
Wait, no,
back to
wait,
can they go back to back?
Not Baker Mayfield, Baker Dusty Baker, right?
Yeah, that's why I said Baker. The
Oh, okay.
success
No, I
that
was gonna say
the success that
'cause
Baker has had.
when you said success and Baker, I was because Baker Mayfield's success is not synonymous with success.
Right,
You
right.
know,
So I kind of threw you off. I see what you did there.
well, we'll that's a show for another day, Russ.
Yeah,
But we'll
yeah,
we'll get to the Cleveland Browns eventually.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll get to them
Go
too.
ahead.
But yeah, so I mean, I think if he can take them back to the World Series, and that might also be another PR move,
Yeah,
the overall PR move, if he can do that and take them to success again and say
yeah,
we did it without cheating, so we didn't. Then they can come back and say we didn't need cheating. Hey, look what we did the
exactly.
next season. So
Yeah,
I think that also plays a small part into it that of hope. Because that's not a guarantee, but
right, right.
if they can be
That's true.
successful without cheating, that kind
Yes,
of will somehow erase it a little bit.
yeah,
So
yeah.
all
That's true.
all of
That's
it's a
true.
PR move.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. That I agree with that. Hey, kudos to Baker, man. Dusty Baker. I've always liked Dusty Baker. I thought he got a raw deal, honestly, Russ, when he was with the Washington Nationals. I really did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he did go to the postseason both years that he was here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay, they lost, but hey, at least you're getting to that, second season, so to speak. You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? I
Exactly.
mean, you have guys prior to Dusty Baker getting. Right, the Nationals were
A laughing
dormant.
stock. Yeah, a laughing stock.
Yes, absolutely. So I thought he got a raw deal, but it is what it is. Damage is done now.
Right.
You know, so yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that situation with the Houston Astros. I had a buddy of mine says, "Man, them dudes were cheating during the game." He was like, "It shouldn't be called the Houston Astros. It should be called the Houston Ass." Like, and fill in the blank.
Right. Asterix? Nah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think he meant that one.
But it should be an asterisk next to their
Yeah, yeah,
championship,
exactly,
their World
exactly.
Series.
That's a fact too. Oh my God, man. Russ, do you see how many dudes got fired from that? From
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
That
yeah.
Jose Altuve. He
They
was
didn't even
playing.
they didn't even have a
He
chance
wasn't
to
even a part of the
celebrate.
organization.
Right.
He was in the Red Sox, and he
Right.
got fired from the Houston. They were like, you know what, man, you was here when that shit happened, so you're
Right.
fired,
Right.
even though you're coaching another team.
Right. Right. He's fired.
I said, damn, they must go hard, boy.
Yeah, that was a straight debacle, man. That happened. They didn't
It
even
sure
get.
was.
They didn't even get a chance to celebrate.
No, they didn't. They didn't. Honestly, it was on. And you know what? Here's the thing, Russ. In the with Major League Baseball, cheating in Major League Baseball compared to cheating in the NFL, to me is like night and day because when you cheat in Major League Baseball, you are considered the black sheep forever, bro. You know what I'm saying? You
Pete,
you ain't going.
I like Pete Rose.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, exactly. Pete Rose, Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez,
Right.
Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire.
Right.
A bunch of guys. Manny Ramirez. Those
Right.
guys. It's gonna take those guys forever to get into the Hall of Fame, if they even do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas in the NFL, who
Yeah,
knows?
T.O.'s in there. So I mean,
Well, yeah,
don't even get me started on that, please. I mean, how is Drew Pearson? Drew
oh yeah, I saw
Pearson.
that. I saw that. I saw
How
that.
is
Yeah,
Drew Pearson not in the
he
Hall of
was
Fame?
crying and he was boo-hooing and lips was quivering and
Bruh, how is Drew Pearson not in the Hall of Fame, man? Come on, man. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
Russ, he
This guy,
pushed off. He pushed off.
he what? Oh, I see. Hail Mary. We talking Hail Mary here. And I'm not talking about Tupac song either.
Right. But no, in all seriousness, Drew Pearson should have been in the NFL Hall of Fame before
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Terrell Owens, in my opinion.
I don't believe Terrell should be in there, but that's just me. And I know you could send if it's plucking some feathers. Hey, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
It is going to ruffle some
if
feathers,
it's
but
ruffling your feathers, pluck them because
pluck them.
I don't care on that one. He's not a give me the they're gonna give you numbers, but that's all they can give you.
And,
That's it.
and and you know what? I agree with
Meaning
you.
empty numbers, a bunch of empty stats.
Exactly. Thank you. Empty stats. And look, and I'm gonna take it a step further. And you know what? I think I might be going with this. Kirk Cousins.
Wow, how did we get to Kirk Cousins? What do you think Kirk should be in the Hall of Fame once he retires? Is that what you're saying?
No, absolutely not. You know what? If Kirk Cousins make the Hall of Fame, I want you to feed me rat poisoning at the doorstep of the Hall of Fame. Okay,
I'm gonna
while
write
he's
that
giving
down.
his speech.
While he's making his speech.
While he's giving his induction speech, I want you to take a knife and slice my throat from ear to ear. Okay, because there's no way in
What if
hell,
Kirk gets y'all a Super Bowl though, man? What if he gets y'all 2 Super Bowls? You're gonna
Russ,
change your view on
Russ. But again, that's if.
him, right?
You know what I'm saying? Listen, Russ, you want to talk about numbers, inflatable numbers? That's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
That's Kirk
yeah,
Cousins.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I'd be telling Russ, these Vikings fans, they get on my last nerve when I tell them, this guy, all he does, and they keep bringing up, well, his numbers, his completion percentage, his yardage, and wow. Like, dude, really? Russ, I mean, it drives me nuts, man.
I can't stand it either, man. And the thing is, stats have their place. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But the
Yes, they
way
do.
where they use it today in this analytical world is
Yes.
absolutely
It's
ridiculous.
nonsense.
It's people who don't really understand sports or understand the
They
game,
don't.
so they
They
can
don't.
only that's all they can go to.
God, man. Oh, God. Well, yes, 5,000 yards passing, and his completion percentage is 81%. Well, wow. Well, then put him in the Hall of Fame. Then put him right now. Put him there right now.
Right.
God, man. Oh, God.
Gotta watch the game, people. Gotta watch the game.
Thank you.
Watch the event.
And I was telling somebody this the other day. Russ, I think I told you this before. Stats do lie.
No, they do.
Sometimes, yes, stats lie sometimes. I'm sorry.
We talked about it before on one of our episodes. Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
You're right. They do lie.
They do
okay?
lie.
God, man. And like you said, about the TO thing, I guess I wouldn't have. All right, all right, he's in the Hall of Fame now. So, but the reason why I say he doesn't deserve the Hall of Fame just because the way he is, bro. I'm sorry.
He's not
I'm just looking at
player,
moral character, I guess. Maybe that's what it is for me.
I'm
you're right.
not even looking at the moral character. I'm
What are you looking
at what I watched on the field.
Okay, I got you. I hear you.
See, maybe I should define it a little bit better for people, for the listeners. Like, what I'm saying is this: Hall of Fame players to me are not measured in numbers.
Right.
Okay. To me, for instance, let me give you this: Jerry Rice holds all kinds of records. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All kinds of records. He's not a Hall of Famer to me because of any of those records. I couldn't quote one of them to you.
Right.
You see what I mean? But I can tell you what I saw him do. You know what I mean? In the Super Bowl.
Yeah. The eye test.
Yes. You got to pass the eye test.
Yep.
I can tell you what this guy did in the biggest moments when you needed to make a play.
Yep.
Tom Brady is not great because of the Super Bowls he's won or been to. That's not what makes him or considered the greatest quarterback of all time, in my opinion.
Right.
It's because when I watch him play, I can remember the comeback. I can remember the drive. Yes. That drive. Joe Montana. I don't know how many yards he ended up with in his career. I don't need to. I don't need to.
But you don't. You remember. And here's the thing, Russ. To piggyback what you're saying, you're talking about moments. You're not talking about numbers. Yes.
Emmitt Smith leads the NFL in the all-time rusher with yards.
And I bet you half the fans in the league can't tell you his numbers.
Right.
Half the
I'm a
fans can't tell
Cowboys
you his
fan.
numbers.
And I watched him from rookie to the end,
Mm-hmm.
and I can quote that number to you.
Mm-hmm.
Before him, Walter Payton, when I was growing up, there was
Mm-hmm.
Walter Payton's record was never going to be broken, and Emmett broke it. But that's not why he's a Hall of Famer in my book.
Right.
It's that shoulder game against the Giants.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
the second half of the second Super Bowl in '93 against the Bills,
Right.
where we gave him the ball on every down until we got to the end zone, and we were losing going into the half.
Yep.
It's moments.
Yep.
It's the billions of third and ones.
Exactly. And Russ, on my side of things, I'm a diehard Viking fan, and
Chris
I'm going
Carter.
to speak Chris Carter, but here most recently Adrian Peterson. Russ, do you remember that year when Adrian Peterson went over 2,000 yards? Do you remember the moment that I was like, yeah, this guy is truly a Hall of Famer? Here, I'm going to describe the moment to you. It was a game against the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
We had to win that game to
I
get
know.
into the
Yep.
playoffs.
I know what game you're talking about.
And
Yep.
Adrian went off in that game because we remember Russ, we didn't have nobody. Our quarterback was Christian Ponder. Okay,
How many yards did Adrian have in that game?
I think he had almost 200 yards, I believe, or 202
Wait,
yards or something like
you
that.
don't remember the accurate number?
No, I don't. I don't.
How many carries did he have?
I don't know.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what we mean, folks. Like, it's
Yep.
not about the stats are cool to look at after all of that and say,
Exactly.
"Wow, he had 200 yards."
Exactly.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like,
Yep.
there's times where guys can get 200 yards and it doesn't even look like it in the game because it didn't mean
Exactly.
anything to the game. It didn't
Bingo.
it didn't change anything. And there's some guys who could get 70 yards.
And you can say, wow.
Those 70 yards were amazing. That's what
Yes.
won the game.
Exactly.
That's what matters.
Exactly.
That's what I mean about empty stats, and that's what I can't give T.O. that. If that's all you can give me, that tells you he's not a Hall of Famer.
Right. Right. I hear you. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. I mean,
no. I'm speaking out to the listeners.
Yeah.
Because people will say, "Oh, you're hating," or what do you mean he has this stat and this stat? And it's like this is why I say this. It's
right.
the moments.
Right. It's the moment. You're right. You're right about that.
What is T.O.'s most memorable moment?
I believe it was that game when he caught the ball finally after he did drop like 6 passes.
Thank you. That's his greatest moment. When he was dropping balls all game long. This is the greatest receiver? Come on, man. Like, seriously. And then we comparing him to Rice and guys like Boss and those. Come on, man. Seriously. Like, come on. Chris Carter and Michael Irvin? Like, seriously? Drew Pearson? Right. T.O.'s better than Drew Pearson? Think about the big moments. You mentioned the big moment where you were saying, "Oh, he pushed off in the fight with the Hail Mary."
Right. But that's a big moment. That's a big moment.
That was a playoff game.
Yeah, exactly. That was a huge moment.
And that's just one.
Yep.
The guy had amazing moments.
Right. Honestly, Russ, I know I'd be getting on you with the Cowboys, but at the end of the day, I felt bad for Drew Pearson. Man.
I did too, man. It's ridiculous.
I felt so bad for him.
And it's not even about the Cowboys. I felt bad when it took so long for Art Monk to get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a Red. I don't like the Redskins, but I always respected Art Monk. Once again, another player that I remember, and I was like, man, Art Monk he's a guy that I knew when they're throwing it to him, he's going to catch the ball.
Catch the ball, right? Yeah, it's imminent. His catch is going to be imminent. It's going to happen.
They're going to Rippon is going to throw it to him on third down, and he's going to get it. It's 3rd and 12, and he's going to pick up 14. It's like that's what it is.
Right. Exactly.
It's what you do in the biggest moments, man. That's what matters to me the most in any sport.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
It's not about Kobe's stats and what he, it's not about that. It's the moments. That guy was, ferocious when it came to those big moments. He wanted the ball in his hands just like all the other greats, Jordans, and they want the ball in their hands. And they're going to make it happen. So that's what makes a great player in my eyes. That's how I rank it, Hall of Famers.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I feel the same way. I do. Yeah. I'm with you 100%. You know what I'm saying? I'm with you 100% on that. I mean, that's how you measure greatness, by the moments,
Right.
not necessarily by all the numbers. Like you said, you can look at you can go back after the fact and review all the numbers and say, oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Jordan had this, Jordan had that, Jordan had, you know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
Like, all right, the classic Jordan, I don't know what's going on game. You saw the game.
Portland. Portland.
Yeah, against Portland. You saw the game, but you don't know how much Jordan had in that game.
No, I know he
You
hit a
just
lot of
know he
threes. He hit
right.
probably
You
five. There
you
was
you
five
just know
threes
he
or
was
something.
on
But
fire. You
yeah,
just know he was on
yeah,
fire.
yeah.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
it impacted the game
It impacted the game tremendously because
majorly.
every time Portland came down and made a basket to get closer or take the lead, Jordan would hit him with a dagger, a
he,
dagger, a
uh,
dagger, a dagger.
I mean, he ripped their heart out, and that's quoting Kobe Bryant right there.
Yeah.
He ripped their heart out. That's what Kobe said when he was coming into Philly to play, and they ended up. That's why they ended up booing him later on that time.
Mm-hmm.
And he was coming. They asked him, what do you expect? And now he's like, we're gonna rip their hearts out.
Right. Right.
Kobe. He said he's gonna
Mm-hmm.
rip their hearts out. Yeah, that's what Jordan did to them. Like you said, every time Portland got some hope, he's gonna rip your heart out.
Yeah. So
That's what Brady does his whole
that's what
career.
protect you.
Joe
Exactly.
Montana,
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
greats, Larry
Exactly.
Birds, and those guys. That's what they did.
Yep. And that's what I'm saying. Like put it this way, Russ. Going to what you said about Brady. To me, Brady's. What do you think is Brady's uh classic sort of signature moment? I mean, he's had a bunch of them. You know what I mean?
I mean, a
But
bunch of them. Yeah,
yeah, I can't even count for real, for real. But the one obviously that sticks out to me the most is the Atlanta game.
the
You know
Super
what I'm
Bowl,
saying? Yes, the Super Bowl,
the comeback.
the
Absolutely,
comeback.
I'll never
Yeah.
forget that game. I mean, I'll
and,
never
and,
forget
and
that game.
never forget it. And look, Russ, again, that was a moment game. You know what
Yes,
I'm saying? Listen, the Patriots were down by 25 points in the
yes,
second half. You know
yes.
what I'm saying? And this dude with calmness, coolness, collectiveness, and precision passing took his team down, down in, down out, drive in, drive out, and won the Super Bowl for them. You know what I mean? Like listen, Tom Brady, man, is unbelievable, man. I'm sorry. You
He
want to talk
is
about cold blooded?
cold blooded, man.
Cold blooded, bro. Listen, listen,
Like
Russ.
Rick
Put it this
James,
way.
cold blooded.
Yep, exactly, Russ. As at any point in that game, in that Super Bowl against Atlanta, at any point in that game when they needed that last, remember the last drive to come win the game,
Yes,
and the Patriots won the coin toss. Remember that went into
yes,
overtime, I believe.
yes.
Was there any doubt in your mind that the Patriots were going to lose that game?
Oh no, I knew the Patriots were gonna win that game.
Bingo.
I mean, I gotta tell this story, man, for that game because, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget this game because
Mm-hmm.
I went to my brother-in-law's house, me and my son, to
Uh-huh.
watch the Super Bowl that year.
Uh-huh.
So we're watching the Super Bowl, and Atlanta is just whooping the pay, and I'm rooting for Atlanta in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So they're beating Atlanta. I mean, they're beating the Patriots, and it's Sunday. My son's got school the next day. I got work. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna watch it. We'll watch it to the end of the third quarter because it's already, it's already done. So if the
Right.
Patriots don't make any moves, we'll leave. And we had
Right.
about a 25, it's about 25, 30-minute drive from his house to where we were.
Right.
So we left at the end of the third. Like, it's done. We're gone. So we're driving. Me and my son were driving home and everything, and we get about probably about 5 minutes from the house.
Uh-huh.
So maybe 25 minutes have passed.
Uh-huh.
And my son, I'll never forget this. He turns to me and he looks and he says, we're laughing, we're talking about the game and stuff, discussing the game. And he turns to me and he says, what if the Patriots came back? I said, no, man, that game's over with. The Falcons are the Super Bowl champions.
Right.
And right at that moment, no doubt, my brother-in-law texts us. And he said, and he texted my son and told him, like, the
Uh-huh.
Patriots came back. And I said, shut up, man. Are you serious? I was like, he's playing. So we rush home. So now that 5 minutes, we're like, I'm turning corners and everything, trying to get
Right.
home because
Right.
now I've missed all of this. So I missed
Right.
all of the comeback. So
Right.
we get in the house, we run into the house, turn the TV on and everything, and the Patriots are on the drive to take the game into overtime.
To overtime, yeah.
Yeah. So they scored, and I'm like, what? I mean, we sat there just speechless. Like we could not believe what we were looking at, and we missed the whole comeback, but we got to see them score the game, the tying touchdown, and then of
Right.
course the overtime. And I like so you asked me, did I had any doubt at the point? I knew I was like, oh, the Patriots are going to win this because when you blow that type of it's hard.
Yeah.
It's about getting. Can you get that energy back up? And the Patriots
Yeah.
are filled
And,
with energy right now.
yeah.
They're hyped.
And
Yeah,
momentum. They had
momentum.
momentum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not getting
And,
that
and, and
momentum
and
back.
Russ, let me tell you my story about that same situation, that same day. It was me, Marcus and Brianna.
Right.
Brianna, she's not a football fan, but she came out and watched the football. I was sitting out there in the couch. Me and Marcus was watching the game. Brianna comes in there and starts watching the game with us. Patriots getting blown out. It's about halftime. I'm like, I told him, I call him Marcus Ace. I say, "Look, Ace, you can go to bed if you want to, man. Or you can hang out and watch the rest of the second half." He was like, no, I'll watch the second half. And then Bree's like, all right, well, I'm going to bed. So Bree goes to bed, right?
Right.
And that's expected. Bree goes to bed.
Yeah.
And next second half gets here, watching it, and then the Patriots start coming back. And then, touchdown, touchdown, fumble, touchdown, touchdown. Marcus is like, Daddy, oh my God, the Patriots are coming back. And then he goes in there and wakes Bree up. And Bree's like, no, I'm fine. He's like, come on, seriously. Remember when they were down 28-3? Come, watch this. They're about to tie the game. And Bree comes in and she was like,
So she came.
oh,
She got up and went to watch it too.
yes,
That's
dog. And
what's up. That's what's
she was
up.
like, oh my God, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, Bree. So we sat down and watched the whole rest of the game. And Russ, we was in, I mean, especially Mark, he was like, I can't believe that just happened.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was nice for him to see that, and it was just an amazing Super Bowl, man. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is what I told him, Russ. I said, look, Marcus, when I remember, because I always tell him, I said, never give up on
Right.
anything. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I was like, what do you think the Patriots did in this game? He was like, they never gave up. They just kept fighting. And I was like, bingo. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can use that example into your lifestyle. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? If something that you have a dream that you want to accomplish, don't give up on it. Keep
Oh,
fighting.
oh
Keep,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Always finish the fight too, because that's for the
Exactly.
Falcons. They didn't finish the fight.
No, they didn't.
They
It didn't.
started
It was like
counting those chickens before they were hatched.
exactly. Russ, it was like the Falcons was literally in quicksand and they were just sinking and sinking and sinking and they didn't have nobody to help them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was insane.
Yeah, man.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
That's why
Yeah,
I'll never forget that one. That was one of the great moments with Brady.
absolutely.
And then so many drives. I mean, the Super Bowls where he just he's gonna get them in field goal range, and here comes Vinatieri, and you know the game is over.
Exactly. Exactly. Unbelievable.
You
And
know,
and Russ, not only in the super, it's sometimes in the regular season,
regular
when
season, yeah,
some of those tight games that the Patriots might be in,
right.
Brady always gets them out
He's
of that.
gonna find a
He
way.
always pulls it
Yeah,
out. He's a clutch, man. People hate that dude. I don't know what the dude is so clutch, man. And I
yeah,
love seeing that. I
yeah.
love seeing greatness.
Me too.
You know,
I haven't seen a quarterback like that since Joe Montana. I
Since Joe
mean,
Montana.
yeah,
Period. Exactly.
where
Same here.
you just knew this guy is going to he's going to get it done.
Right.
You know, I mean, I remember, you know, the '92, the first Super Bowl the Cowboys won in the '90s,
Right.
and they played the 49ers in the NFC Championship game,
Yeah.
and Montana was actually healthy for that game.
Hmm.
When I found out he was healthy for that game, I was scared. But then when they said, "Well, Steve Young is still going to start," I was like, "Okay, we're good." And this is no knock on Young, but at that time, Young was not a Super Bowl champion. He
Right. Right.
he, he was not proof. He was not Joe Montana,
Right. Right.
and so when I heard he was going to start and Montana was, I was shocked, but I was happy.
Happy, yeah, absolutely. Because you knew, because in the back of your mind, you knew, oh my God, if
No,
this dude gets
why
the
is he
ball,
come? Like, please don't
right,
let him come.
right,
Why he's gonna ruin the season? Like,
exactly,
but
exactly.
Seeing him standing on that sideline, I was like, yes,
Exactly.
you
And you
know,
know what? That see now, and see that's one and one end of the spectrum. Here's the other end of the spectrum. A quarterback like Donovan McNabb.
yes,
Okay, Donovan puts up good numbers and stuff, but Russ, matter of fact, I'm gonna get right to the point. What I'm trying to make. This man, you literally threw up during the Super Bowl.
right.
Do you
And
remember that?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. And I'll say this: if Brady, because that's a great. I'm glad you brought that game up because Brady, no matter what Donovan and the Eagles did, Brady,
Yes,
and it
yes,
was like a
exactly.
back for most of that. If you watch that game, it was back and forth.
It
And
was.
Donovan, if you look at how he played well in that Super Bowl.
He did.
He
He
played
did.
well, and you know what? If the Eagles win that game, he might be Super Bowl MVP.
Yes.
Because who else were you going to
However,
give it to?
right,
Not To with his 2-3 catches and that he had in the first quarter or whatever,
right,
and disappeared. He was gone after that. So
right.
Donovan could win the Super Bowl, but the pressure bust pipes. I mean, the pressure
Yeah.
of you drive the team down the field, get in the end zone, you take the lead, you go to the
Mm-hmm.
sidelines, and then you feel like a relief
Yes.
until you see number 12
Number 12. Yeah.
just
Bring him right
just
back down the
just
field.
right now it's back. Now the ball's back in your court, and it's
Yep.
getting close. Now we're in the third, fourth. Now this is where it gets hot.
Yep.
It gets hot, and then when you get hot, you know what happens? You throw up.
Yep.
So that's one of the first signs right there. You start getting really hot. That pressure, man. And when you got guys like a
Yeah.
Brady and those guys, Joe Montana, he's got to go 90 whatever yards to win the
Mm-hmm.
game. Not a
Mm-hmm.
field goal, but a touchdown we need. And he's looking in the crowd in the first huddle, standing in the end zone, his end zone, saying,
Mm-hmm.
hey, look, there's John Candy.
Right. That's all. That's insane.
That's insane. This is the
That's
Super
insane.
Bowl. This is the Super Bowl.
And you're down.
You're down. We need a touchdown, not a field goal. And we're
Right.
we're standing in our own end zone in the
Right.
huddle. So that's how far we got to go.
Right.
And you're pointing out, hey, look, John Candy in the crowd. I mean, the other 10 guys in the huddle, they're like, man, if he's relaxed like that, let's go get this. This is easy.
Exactly. Exactly.
People don't
Yeah.
understand that type of, in the biggest moments when you can be like that's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
that Mamba mentality, you know.
Exactly. Mamba mentality. That's right. That's right. When you don't give a damn. See, you know what? But going back to Kobe real quick. He said something that resonated with me pretty well. He said, in a moment of despair or adversity, um, and he likened it to like he gave it like a basketball example. He was like, you know what? He was talking about the Utah game, and remember
when
in his
he
rookie year
when he airballed all yeah.
when he airballed like 3 straight airborne.
Right.
So he was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm not afraid to fail.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's a
Right.
psychological advantage. Seriously,
It's huge.
it's huge.
That's what separates these guys.
Yes, yes, exactly. It's absolutely huge. He's not afraid to fail. A lot of guys like Kirk Cousins, you know what I mean? They in the first mistake they made, oh my god, what am I gonna do? It's got getting tight and start pressing and start, doubt, self-doubt and all
Right.
that.
Right.
Oh my god. It's that's why I love guys like, Kobe, MJ, Larry, all those guys, Magic.
Magic, yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not afraid to fail. They want to take that last shot. And you
Right.
know what? If they miss it, they're gonna they have the guts and the responsibility to go to the media and
Own
and
it.
and take the shots and own it. You know, and own it. Same thing with Brady. Same way.
Right.
Russell. You know what I'm impressed with too, Russ? Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson's
Russell
another
Wilson
one of those
owns it.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he owns
he's
it.
another one of those guys. He owns it.
Yeah, Russell Wilson. He that horrible interception he threw in the end zone.
Right.
he didn't sulk. He didn't pout. He didn't, he wasn't moping. He went, and faced the music, faced all the questions, answered everything, and moved on. You know what I mean?
And the crazy thing about that play, like, it rightfully so. Everybody gets on Pete Carroll, and I think rightfully so because he made the call not to give it to Marshawn Lynch, but
Right.
that pass was actually accurate.
It was. It was just a great play by the defense.
Yes, they actually when I saw behind the scenes, the corner jumped the play because he recognized it before the
And
snap.
he recognized
They had
the
studied that.
offensive formation.
Yes, they had studied that, so he knew where the ball was going,
Right.
and
Right.
that was just a great play,
Exactly. Exactly.
because if he
So
doesn't read that, that's a
that's a
touchdown.
touchdown. Absolutely.
That's an easy touch. That's
Touchdowns.
a walk-in touchdown. Yeah,
Yep. Exactly. So yep. So that's what it is, man. But this was a good one today, Cuzzo.
yeah, man.
It was a good one today. Next, I think next episode, man, we should talk about. We should touch on some boxing. I
Definitely.
saw a couple of fights the last couple of weeks. Julian J. Rock Williams got
Right,
destroyed.
right, right.
I couldn't believe that.
He lost this title, after he took it from Hurd. Yeah.
Yeah, and just this past weekend, Hurd, he looked terrible in his fight. And I
Yeah,
don't know how you
he
felt, but
he changed his style,
Mhm.
and he's trying to be a little bit more defensive conscious,
I guess,
and I think it'll help him. But the thing is, a lot of times, man, I mean, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, and when he
yeah,
gets in there with a guy that's gonna make him fight his old style, he's gonna go to that. But if he can, you know, he's got to get better at that style because that
hmm
definitely that's what you're talking about. It was not the best defense. He's got to get better at it. If that's the
yeah,
case, he's gonna have to get
yeah,
better at it. But he's still gonna end up sometimes in those wars depending on the opponent that's in front of him.
right,
But I understand. You want to be a little bit more defensive and not take shots that you don't have to, and I can get that. But he's got to perfect that style a lot better because it's not gonna work against everybody.
right,
You
right,
know,
absolutely, yep, yep. Well, yeah, that's we should definitely touch on some of that. We should
All
also,
Star weekend.
yeah, All Star Weekend. Also, we should touch on Coco Golf. She exercised some demons a couple of weeks ago, and
Yes.
she beat Naomi Osaka, the girl who crushed her a few
Yes.
months ago.
And that same day, Serena exited. She
Yeah,
lost. She
yeah, I
lost.
remember that.
Yeah, I
She
watched that. I watched
she
that
got
match.
ousted.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there's a few things we gotta get back at it again, man. So let's just keep make a mental note of it, and when we come back, we should you know hop on it.
absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so that's what it is then. So folks, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in
Yes,
to the Will and Russ Sports Podcast. We love you guys. I know we talked about a lot of different things today. Some things you guys didn't agree with, and I naturally, as we always say, if we ruffle some of your feathers,
pluck them.
peace out, guys.
Peace out.